Hello, my name is Victoria Ahmadizadeh Melendez. I use she, her pronouns. I want to start out by thanking GEEX for inviting me to do this lecture. This is a two-part lecture. I'll start by describing my journey and career in glass, and then I'll also discuss my creative practice.
GEEX, the Glass Education Exchange, welcomes Victoria Ahmadizadeh Melendez as the first speaker of the 4th season of the GEEX Talks lecture series. Victoria's poetry and prose is inextricable from her process-based work. Glass, neon, print, fiber, and found objects work together in tandem to manifest a voice, drawn and stitched together from notes app, sketchbooks, and diary entries, through richly layered and dreamlike installations. Victoria teaches at Tyler School of Art, from which she received her BFA. She holds an MFA in Craft/Material Studies from Virginia Commonwealth University. Victoria is also the director of the Bead Project at UrbanGlass, which you'll hear more about shortly. For those of you watching during the premiere, we're looking forward to your thoughts and questions in the live chat. For all of our audience, comment, share, and get comfortable. This video has been sponsored by Vetro Vero. Based in Pennsylvania, Vetro Vero offers limited production blown glass vessels, hand-formed contemporary goblets, and original sculptures. Vetro Vero, leaders in contemporary blown glass design since 2011. Visit their website at vetrovero.com.
The main medium I use in my creative practice is glass. So I discovered glass in 2008, which means I've been working with this material for 15-ish years now. And I started out blowing glass in the hot shop, as I'm doing here in this image. But gradually over time, I was exposed to different ways of working with glass and branched out into flameworking, kiln working, and also most recently neon. Neon entered into my work about 5 or so years ago, and that's been really exciting and reinvigorating for my practice. Aside from my personal creative practice, I also work in education in glass. So here I am at Tyler School of Art working with a student. I've been teaching at Tyler in their glass program for 6 years now, a variety of studio courses and lecture seminar courses. And I also teach at UrbanGlass in Brooklyn as the director of the Bead Project. So to go into the Bead Project a bit and describe what that program is all about, it's a 25-year-old scholarship program that is geared towards diversifying the studio. The Bead Project grants full scholarships to femme-identifying people who demonstrate some sort of financial need, but also show creative promise and a strong interest in learning how to work with glass. We accept all adult ages, so 18, 19 years of age plus, all backgrounds and skill levels, and we find that this creates a really rich exchange for the students. The main studio process we teach in the Bead Project is flameworking. And here you can see that I'm sitting behind a bench-mounted torch and I am melting and manipulating glass rods to create a form. So students learn how to use a variety of torches. The emphasis is really on wearable components. We start out with beads and then we go into glass chains and small glass structures, and then eventually we do end up showing some more sculptural processes or techniques. We teach the students how to work with a variety of kinds of glass. So this is Effitre soft glass. It's an Italian soft glass that's used traditionally for bead making. It comes in a million beautiful colors. It's really nice material to work with. We also teach the students how to work with borosilicate glass, which lends itself better to some things than others. And we also talk about using found glass. So students see demonstrations of heating up bottle glass, pulling it out of the kiln, manipulating it, and making new things out of it. These are some Bead Project students working in the flame shop at UrbanGlass. Each class they'll see a different set of demonstrations, and then they'll have practice time while we come around, help them out, answer questions, see how they're doing. We also cover a range of professional practice tutorials in the program. So we will start out the class usually with a topic that deals with entrepreneurship or professional practices, and gradually through the 10 weeks kind of make our way through all the different hats they're going to have to wear as a professional artist or a jeweler who sells their work at trunk shows regularly. So here we have Blaine Davis coming in as a visitor to give students a photography lesson. And here, two of our now alumni, Mika and Carol, they are practicing photographing their rings with natural light. We also take students on field trips. So here a group is being shown around Brooklyn Metalworks by our friend Erin. So we can build connections within the community. Students realize that they have additional resources if they want to continue with a practice of making wearable pieces of jewelry, wearable art or sculpture, or just anything made out of glass and metal, perhaps. We try to also invite visiting artists through to talk to students of the program. This artist is Luz Arias. She's an Argentinian artist who splits her time between Argentina and New York, and she also sells her work in the Urban Glassware store. So it's great for students to see the finished product in a display case, get to meet the artist, hear about their creative process, and also see kind of samples of research and development, as well as advice on, how to run a business, how to continue promoting yourself and selling work as the years go by. A big part of the Bead Project really centers around empowerment. We just see participants gain so much self-confidence as they go through the program and develop new skills and a new sense of self-belief. And part of lifting up alumni is our Bead Project Artist in Residence program. So each semester we choose an alumni from the previous semester to come back as artist in residence to continue their research in the program, continue their product development, or develop an artistic project, and also guide the new students and be someone there to share their experiences and share advice. So here, Jen Lamb is showing some in-progress pieces to the Bead Project cohort during an artist lecture. And then after the artist lecture, the artist in residence usually also does a studio demonstration. And we do like to regularly invite back Bead Project alumni to do demonstrations. This artist is named Malika, and she did have a background in metalsmithing. So we had her come in and teach the class how to solder wire together. Aside from all of these enriching experiences that we want to expose the students to, we also have a few assignments and course goals throughout the Bead Project. So one is creating something called your signature bead. The signature bead, it's, basically whatever techniques that you gravitate towards from all of the demonstrations. So as students see demos, they'll try a little bit of everything, and then they'll kind of find some techniques that they really are hooked on the most. And maybe it's a combination of technique and color that allows them to come up with a bead design that is all their own. So we ask students to replicate their signature bead enough times to trade with the rest of the class. And so here is an artist named Ka Yi. This is her collection of signature beads at the end of the class. In addition to the signature bead, we also create business cards. Students write an artist bio for themselves or their brand if they'd like to frame it that way. They also have the ability to sell some of their signature beads in the store on consignment to learn about, what it's like to sell work through a gallery or a store on consignment. Here is another example of student work. This is Bella Carlos's signature bead design. And then another big goal of the course is the trunk show. So the trunk show is the final culmination of the Bead Project semester. After the 10 classes, we meet one last time and students set up a table of all the different things that they've made throughout the semester. They can invite friends and family, and the event is open to the public. And students are able to actually sell the work that they have created and priced and thought about and written about and photographed and all these other things throughout the semester. And we also treat it as a little bit of a graduation ceremony. I mean, we hesitate to call it a graduation because we always want Bead Project alumni to come back and be part of our studio community. But students do receive certificates of completion. Their role in the studio changes a little bit. They go from Bead Project student to professional renter. But they also get some perks to continue using the studio going forward that opens roads to access for them. So for instance, they'll get a discount on renting time at the studio after they graduate the program. They could also take advantage of alumni flameworking days. Those are free events for people to come, get back in the studio and network with one another. Bead Project students are also eligible for special full scholarships that nobody else at UrbanGlass is eligible for. So I'm proud to say that over the 2 years of leading this program, I have seen a lot of retainment. A lot of my students are now TAing classes or teaching their own workshops, which is super exciting. And sometimes folks become studio staff or work in outreach in some other capacity with UrbanGlass. Or we just see people around in the flame shop continuing to make their work and develop their skills. So it's been a really wonderful, rewarding experience to lead the Bead Project. Part 2. Although my work includes elements of print, language, fibers, and found objects, glass and neon light are the mediums I work within the most, as I had mentioned earlier. The rich color that glows from within both of these materials is important to my pieces, making them feel deeply alive and present, sometimes even buzzing. Glass can carry a slick, shiny, cutting aesthetic, making it an ideal vehicle for translating the sometimes adversarial voice that appears in my writing. I went to Virginia Commonwealth University for grad school, and during my second year there is when I switched gears a bit and began using things I write as a lens through which to explain and express what I'm making. I extract phrases from my writing, making them tactile as images and objects. Sometimes I think about the gallery space as a blank page I could write across, with objects acting like phrases. When making table settings or arrangements of objects like this, I also think back to something called the hafseen, which is a traditional table setting used in Persian culture to celebrate the new year, Nowruz, which in that tradition is on the first day of spring. In that setting, simple things like flowers, mirrors, candles, and fruit can take on complex symbolic meanings. So thinking about the hafseen in a way helps me give myself permission for the objects I make, as well as the meanings that I assign to them. Sometimes actual text does show up in my work as a material. I love thinking about playing with text as a material, but I think choosing where and how it will appear and making sure that it is well placed is the hardest part of what I'm doing for me. Occasionally at my exhibitions, there's a takeaway like the zine, which contains the complete text the work is based on or related to. For the next slides of my work, I'm going to go through a couple of exhibitions, and I'll read some of this writing to you as the images go by. I had a friend who taught me the lessons of dimensions 1 through 10, only to disappear into 4. She told me life was infinite, but I don't know where she went. The mind is a shape-making machine, And when I washed my face that night, he was unpacking his suitcase in an altered state of consciousness. I shake here, I mumble, what is there to place on a free moment? The subway is a tunnel of movement creating portraits in phase space. For now, I will just ride away, laughing and crying at the same time. You seem invested in an amnesiac's equilibrium, an internal logic that makes me sneer. When you lie, it's like I've got dust in my eyes, the spectacle of selective memory. You are a lovely hinge, an extension of my energy. This continent feels our love from end to end. A path exists between every home from there to here. While you roam through frozen waters, I boil here in an oblivious dream. Both hands fell off, falling to shatter, and I awakened to see your long lashes peering slightly from your sleeping bag, a small dead fly on all three windowsills, and a night owl bus squawking past each pane. The forms we see live only through transition, just like roads bordered with houses. And the very fact that they can still see you alive and in person is amazing. I thought that being free and content would be the absence of longing, free from thoughts of what could be missing, content that you can just keep going without stopping, that you can perform a simple action that will someday amount to something. I found what was most important to me was to create objects that could reveal the redeeming moment, the banishment of longing, the feeling of coasting downhill, barely a thought for the past or the future, the moment in which you realize you can keep going without stopping, that everything has amounted to something. I just want that feeling of euphoria with no breaks. Soul bleaching that comes when you are alone making pace. With the most unkind morsels of the self removed, so that you can go free and content. The first thing I'll do is return to Ringer's Circle and imagine you there, a lad who didn't die. And you will never die, you will never be 30, and you will never be grown. You will always be covered in tiny hieroglyphs, strange little pictures drawn in blue and red ink lines. Beautiful, you spit into the fire. Why did you look up to me? I only ever looked across at you. I wish I had enough eyes to meet your stare with confidence. In a daydream, a flag emblazoned with every color hangs boldly in my window. A filter for your boundless ill will, I stare at the back of your neck for practice. I'll meet you under the ice. I'm convinced that you could take any form, the real, the imagined, the physical, the spiritual. With a voice I've never heard and a face I've never seen, indelibly solid, you are the ice made tangible from water. You're clear green. Now that the nights are chill and the annuals spent, I should have thought them gone. Not so. As I read the words and looked at the people down below, I could feel the whole world passing through me in an unbroken stream. If you want to be like me, just cross a cat with a dog, dig a grave and pitch a tent over it, make only one enemy and no money, submerge a flower under water, melt a candle until only the wick is left, and write me a letter when you're sick of it all. These are the pictures that I choose to frame, just sort of slithering in the wind. I watch as they pluck the petals off of all of the daisies in an attempt to quench their love sickness. As we indulge in simple acts of wishing and fortune-telling, we make ourselves vulnerable to joyful affirmation and spoiled desire. They said sometimes this moment tastes like cherries, but sometimes it tastes like nothing. Lost without fields to fill, I don't know what those tinted glasses do, to soften the edges of every moving thing, beneath you, through you, and there without you. As I reply, looking into your eyes, examining them closely to find little pins like gems inside, a quiet life a couple of times over. They said, I can't wait to be an angel, not hardened but healed. My heartache will melt to joy. I'll be invisible but free. The billboard reads, no cuts, no pain, no stitches, no scars. The next day, I pedal around in circles, trying to lift up the edges of my understanding, unsure as to how this could possibly spare you and everyone you know. A tangled distance, a curled plume of smoke, another futile message. How can I help you when all I can ever do is evaporate? Our paths of communication became eclipsed, the aperture closing as you slowly glide away. I need to unlock the world, twist it so that I can sidle over to you. I lay in bed and look at the moon. I skate across it. I trace my path within it. The best things never seem to happen. I grasp onto the exterior of a fabricated possibility. My mother told me that my birthmark came from the moon, a gash opened up by the lunar eclipse she happened to see. She told me that when I die, God will remember this mark, the stain of moonlight splashed aside my neck. When my mother came here from Puerto Rico, her family gave her gold chains and other jewelry and told her to sell them when she reached her destination. She did this but regretted having to part with these objects. Now she loves to collect jewelry, charms, chains, and trinkets, determined to show that she can have and keep them. Although I wasn't alive when this happened, this story is etched into my memory. Her words taught me that objects like experiences can be fleeting. The springtime blooms and then bursts. Tokens of money and memory come and go in a churning wheel of recycled energy. A chain is something that could be a gift or a snare, maybe both. The links dissolved in the water. The light sank into the sky. She walked across it like a tightrope, a glimmering thread from there to here, never one place or the other, instead a third place of going. I need a tether to the places I don't remember being from, a beauty to follow the hollow of my collarbone, a prize for having and being. Thank you so much for joining my Geeks Talks lecture. I'm looking forward to discussing your questions with Deani Whitehawk on the Geeks Talks Q&A podcast, coming later this fall.
Thanks for joining. This season, Geeks Talks will present 4 featured speakers and 2 paired Q&A discussions on the Geeks Talks Q&A podcast. Following their respective Geeks Talks lectures, stay tuned for the upcoming podcast episode featuring Victoria Ahmadizadeh Melendez and Deani Whitehawk. Your questions will shape the conversation. Email questions for Victoria to questions@geeks.glass by Friday, November 24th. Geeks programming relies on subscriptions, partnerships, and sponsorships. Speaker honorariums are generated from a communal pool of institutional subscribers. Individual subscriptions provide support for all of Geeks programming. Subscribe to gain access to the full Geeks Talks archive of lectures and Q&As featuring contemporary artists and researchers working with glass. Want to learn more? Visit geeks.glass/support. Many thanks to our subscribers for your continued support. With the Geeks Talks model, we hope to reinvest in artists and researchers and set a precedent for shared artist talks in the collective field of glass. Thanks as well to our organizational partners. Organizational partnerships are intended for craft schools, glass schools, museums, cultural institutions, art service organizations, and truly all organizations interested in education, both in and beyond the field of glass. Thanks again to our sponsor, Vetro Vero. To learn more, visit their website at vetrovero.com. Many thanks to Victoria Ahmadizadeh Melendez. And thanks to you, our audience, for supporting Geeks Talks. Stay tuned.